Hello, I'm Daniela, and welcome to the May prompt in the Stitch With Me in 2025 online workshop, where we're creating a slow stitching fabric book. Each month's prompts can be found below. They're all linked, as well as the instructions for putting together the book and attaching the pages. Let's get started right away with May's prompt, which is Prairie points. Prairie points are a beautiful way to fold fabric to create a traditional border around a quilt or a table runner. They're quite striking, they're unusual and geometric. I'll show you two variations, completely traditional, on how to create them, and then I'll show you one that I use when I'm using it in an untraditional method for slow stitching. I like to take advantage of those beautiful geometric shapes, combining them, alternating them with fabric and different patterns. They're quite lovely. So let's get started. Okay, so I have my first page, which is complete, along with the grommets. Second page. I haven't completed my third and fourth pages. Completed the sewing, but I haven't added the grommets yet. When I was looking at my work, and I like to analyze it, I found that when I stack the pages, which is how they'll be in the book, I'm seeing this ruffle, and I love that look. So I have my trimmed border here with the pinking shears, and then the next page has this beautiful scalloping from this lace on the quilt block. I want to run with that. So for my next page that I'm going to start, and again, it's always two-sided. You could check back on earlier videos to see how I do that. I know that this is going to be my page that I'm going to work on today's prompt for my prairie points. So I already stamped points onto this fabric, this muslin. So I have my labels, and they all coincide. I have the pinking shears that have trimmed the edges, and I can trim this down further if I want. My plan is to use the prairie points, and I'm thinking of making like a grid. I'm not sure what, but I want the prairie points to stick out the edge here so that when I stack my pages, there'll be another layer showing of the prairie points. So that's my generic plan. Let me get right into showing you a couple of methods for making prairie points. And one method that isn't quite official, but it does help me when I create prairie points, especially when I want to use them unconventionally. So here are some examples of prairie points. Now, the traditional method is to use them, such as this, to create the edging. And so in my example of how I want to create my pages, if I was to use those points as my edge on this page here, this would be the page edge. And then in my book, you would see how that edge sticks out, adding another layer of interest to my pages. And this is what you see on the edge of quilts. It's a beautiful edge. You can vary the distance between the points. You can change the fabric used. It doesn't have to be one color, one pattern. There are a lot of variations. Some untraditional uses, which I love because of the texture, love working with folded fabric, is this. It kind of reminds me of a pine cone. I have stacked all the prairie points, and I get a beautiful textured piece. It's almost like a piece of this fabric with just added dimension. And I love that. Here I used just some trim on the edge. I have a piece that I can use in my slow stitching. I have all my lines of prairie points stitched down individually. So if I lift these up, you can see the underside here. I could cover them up with additional fabric, but I like doing it just like this. And I could also vary the number of points shown, and I can continue to add to them, like with additional prairie points here. So it adds a lot of interest in that manner. And then I have this little, call it an emblem, where I took the prairie points, stitched it onto this piece, so that I could stitch this piece down. I just stacked them in an interesting way, and then I added this little fabric piece from lace that I cut out just to have that look. So there's many ways you can use prairie points. You do not have to use them in the traditional method, but you certainly can because they are gorgeous. So let me get you started showing you two methods of making these prairie points. So now from this sample, I used prairie points that started out as 2.5-inch squares of fabric, and then I folded them to get this prairie point. The beauty of it is that when it's folded and then stitched down, there's no raw seams exposed. You only have folded fabric. So I like that look. Here's another one where I made a template, and you just want a perfect square to use this method. So this is a 4 by 4 inch square, and this is the size Prairie point when it's all said and done. When I hold it up this way, you can imagine adding 3 more Prairie points to make a square, an interesting texture, just to play around with. And then you can continue to add further. Depending on the fabric that you use, you get a different effect. You can also swap out fabric. As long as they are the same size squares, you get interesting effects. I just think it's beautiful. And depending on how you sew it down or how you stitch it, it really looks different. Typically, when you stitch Prairie points together, if you're sewing them individually, you'll tuck them inside of each other. So here's a point, and you'll take this one, open this up, and so on. And you can do this the entire length of your border. There's another method of making Prairie points that doesn't have that tuck, and I'll show you that right now. So to show you the first technique, I'm just using my handmade template, just a 2.5 inch square, because I thought this size would look good in my journal. You can use any size square, and that's the beauty of it. So I'll take my fabric and I make sure it's cut square. The neater you are, the neater your end result will be. And I also have a hot iron here set to the temperature of my fabric. So to make the first square, you're going to take your fabric, wrong sides showing, and I'm going to fold over and make a perfect triangle, splitting this square into a perfect triangle. I'm using just a little stiletto here, holding my fabric down so I don't get burned, but typically I don't use the stiletto. I get burned anyway. So I take this and I hold the point down. This allows me to make sure I'm lining up my fabric, and I'm just going over it with a hot iron. I want to press and get a nice seam. Some people like to use starch. Some people like to use adhesive. You can certainly use whatever works for you. I'm happy just by pressing it. I have this nice sharp edge. And then I'm going to take it and fold it on itself again and really take the time to make that edge nice and crisp. And I'll go back in and I press it down. And I'll just continue to press until it stays down, or I'll press it and then put something on it to hold it in place, just till the fabric trains to stay in that shape. And when it's done, I have a beautiful Prairie point. And with this method, you have this nice fold where you can tuck additional Prairie points into when you combine them. So that's one method. The second method doesn't have that little tuck spot. So you're going to take your same square of fabric, 2.5 inch square, and you're going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to press it down, again, with my hot iron on a nice crease. So now I have a nice piece of rectangle here. And I want to just press my 2 creases down so that it makes that triangle. I'm going to hold my stylus here. So you just want to press down. That's what this stiletto is for, so I don't burn my fingers. I want to make sure I get a nice crisp edge. I can flip that over, press down again just to make it hold nicely. And here I have a Prairie point, same size as this one. No exposed edges, but there's nothing to tuck. So with this one, I would just put it on top of the previous Prairie point. And this way, when you see the back of it, when it's all sewn down, you just see this line down the center, as opposed to this one, which has that opening. So it's really personal preference. These are the traditional methods for making the Prairie points. Now, this is a great method because you can just stitch these on, however, whether you tuck them or place them, stitch them in a line, and then you have a line of these pieces that you can use in your work. So now I'd like to show you a different method. Now this is one I like to use because it makes it a little easier to work with if I know I'm using the Prairie points in an untraditional method. I marked out my 2.5 inch square and cut around 3 sides of it. One side I left just a little bit longer, maybe 1/2 inch longer. So now I'm going to take my square, my rectangle, and treat it as a square. And this is just going to be a little lip for me. I take my fabric, fold it over, finger press it, and then I'll press it with my iron. Again, looking for that nice sharp crease. And then I'll come here and press my other piece over. Again, I have a nice sharp crease. Take my time to create that crease because that's the effect. This is a very neat looking piece. And now when it's all said and done, it's the same point size because I use that 2.5-inch measurement, but I have a little more area I can overlap. It creates a slightly different shape, but it allows me just a little bit more. So if I was to overlap two of these together, I get this shape. If I have this here, I get this shape. Again, this is for working non-traditionally, and I just like that appearance. If I decide I don't like it, I can cut it off, I can tuck it. There's lots of ways to work with it, but for some projects, that extra lip really helps. So now that I've showed you the Prairie point technique, let's get started creating our page. So I went through my stash of fabrics that I'm using for this book, and I came up with 4 colors that I just love, plus the color of this background, so 5 fabrics. First thing I want to do is make a series of these Prairie points in each of the colors, and then I can figure out my placement of the piece. So let me show you that. Did off camera, I'll make the little Prairie points, and we'll go to the next step. So here I have a series of Prairie points, and I made them all with the fold. The next thing I need to do is create lines of them, and I think I'm going to divide it by color. So I want to have enough Prairie points here that when I create it off the edge of the page, it just sticks out enough. And I want to get enough Prairie points in so that it lines up. So I'm making sure all of my openings go to one end. So all my openings open down here to the bottom. And now I'll stitch a line, not to the page, just of each of these. So off camera, I'll create my lines of all my fabrics that I want to use. So now off camera, I've created lines or strips of 5 of these Prairie points. I want to make sure they're all going in the same direction. So the top one is always exposed. Oops, so here I can see it's not. So I want to flip that over, and here I go. I want to place them on my half of my page, my full open page. I just need the right-hand side. I made little sketches here of where my holes and grommets are going to be so I don't stitch over them. And now I want to set it up. I can decide if I want a color or a neutral on the edge. I think I want that neutral. That looks like a good place. And now I can just figure out what I want for a pattern. So once I have the order that I like these, I can decide if I want to put some trim in between. And I might just use one color of trim in between each layer. And when I line it up, hopefully we'll be closer to this much of the page, so that I'll have enough room here to put my tag that says points. So right now I'm going to stitch these down off camera, one layer at a time, starting with my beige layer, and then add my trim in between each layer until I get to the final layer. I'll hold off adding my label until I have this stitched down. So I've stitched my Prairie points to the end of my page here. And I like how this looks. The weight of the page, it's pretty heavy to have all these points here, but it's working for me. And now I want to put my label. But I think there's just too much heaviness on this side, so I want to add some interest to this side. So I think I'll stitch down this ribbon here, since it coordinates so nicely with these colors. Move this over, stitch that down, and then I'll add these 2 stars, indicative of points, but I just like that effect. So off camera, I'll stitch it down and then show you the end result. So here is my completed page, with everything stitched down. The grommets will go in here, and next month I'll work on the back side. But for now, I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. There's a lot of texture. There's not really a lot of movement, but there's potential for movement. So I really like how that looks. You can see all the different aspects to this page, and the colors really pop and they stand out. Now I have all my little threadlings here, leftover thread from sewing, and I'm putting it into my vial where I'm keeping all my thread from this project till the end of the year. It's neat because it fills up, but there's plenty of air in there, so I have a long way to go. So this is my page for May. So that's the May prompt in our Stitch With Me in 2025 online workshop. I can't believe the year is approaching the halfway mark. This is a really fun project, and there's so many variations that you could do with each prompt. Now, feel free to post your work on our Facebook group. The work there is outstanding. It's a great community. The link for that group is in the description below, and the work is just extraordinary. So many great artists are on that site, from beginner to advanced and everywhere in between. I hope you'll join us. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. And thank you for joining me today.